Delicious. What's going on, guys? I'm Lakota from Meyer Mediums, and this is vlog number 17. Not gonna lie to you guys, this video was a complete flustercluck to film. Not a lot went right. Mostly it went very wrong, especially right in the beginning, and it was a mess. It was a mess. I got roughly halfway through filming this painting before realizing that my white balance and aperture were completely off the mark, which resulted in a whitewashed time-lapse painting for you to enjoy. So I am relying heavily on my comedic wit and storytelling abilities to keep you tantalized so you don't go clicking on another video. I'm sorry. I actually considered not even posting this, but I worked hard on it. So, deal. I've seen worse content. And I've put out worse content. I did fix the white balance whenever I got to the inking portion, so that part's not so bad. So I hope I can edit this in a way that it isn't a nightmare to watch. Alright, today's video is another time-lapse painting that sticks with the Halloween horror movie theme. This movie is another one from my top 10 list of favorite horror films. Bad Taste is a movie by Peter Jackson, the guy who brought you Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Technically, I guess he didn't bring them to you. J.R.R. Tolkien brought them to you, but he's responsible for bringing it to the big screen. Anyway, the film came out in 1987. It was filmed in New Zealand, which is where Peter Jackson is from, and they shot it for right around, I think, $25,000. The movie is about this group of aliens that lands in Kaiharo in New Zealand. They start harvesting humans for their leader's intergalactic food chain, Crumb's Crunchy Delights. The Astro Investigation and Defense Service, AIDS for short, send out these guys, Barry, Ozzy, Frank, and Derek. Derek is played by Peter Jackson himself, and Peter Jackson also plays one of the aliens in the movies, like a mentally defunct alien. He doesn't really talk much. He just eats things and makes noises and throws up blue stuff in a bowl for the other aliens to eat. It's pleasant. Anyway, these guys go out and they investigate the disappearance of the townspeople, and what follows is one of the best and goriest low-budget battles ever. It's a work of art, as a matter of fact, and I think even Peter Jackson, I think he made most of the props, which is crazy because there's a lot. There's a lot of masks and viscera, a whole house that gets blown up. So I remember discovering this film back when I was like 13 or 14. And at that point in my life, I wanted so badly to become a filmmaker. And Peter Jackson's early films like this one, Meet the Feebles and Dead Alive, were huge inspirations to me. The way that he blended horror with comedy was like, I saw that and I was like, this is what I want to do. The whole reason that I even cared for the horror genre was all the makeup and the special, like, practical effects. Seeing the camera tricks whenever somebody's head blows up on screen catches you off guard, but it also doesn't look real at all. And I don't know, I love that. It was that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to get into that. Anyway, I may not be a filmmaker now, but all of those old films, they really shaped my style and taste in art. The gritty feel of it all juxtaposed with silliness, the pain mixed with comedy. There's just something about that has always spoke to me. Because in life, I think like 90% of the scary situations we end up in, we look back on and we just laugh at the audacity of it. One thing in particular that comes to my mind was I was living in St. Louis, and I was living in a fairly sketchy part of town, the corner of Chippewa and Pennsylvania. If anyone is familiar with that area, then congratulations, you get brownie points. I was working at a Subway on Grand Boulevard, and one night this dude comes in with two pleasant ladies and tells us that we didn't give him his free sandwich when he was in earlier that day. Then to give you a little bit of background, this was back when Subway did buy one, get one footlongs on Sundays. So like we're talking 2005, 2006, something like that. My coworker and we had never seen this dude before. Like he stood out. He was super tall, super thick dreads, and he had like fairly ornate tattoos. Tattoos were actually the first thing I noticed when he walked in because they were like really well done. We argued with the guy for a minute saying we had never seen him before and I would have recognized you. Sorry, you're not getting a free sandwich tonight. You're not the first person to try this. And then one of the girls he was with grabbed a bag of chips and started walking out the door. My coworker started yelling at the girl to get back here with those chips. And that is when Mr. Dreadlocks and Fancy Tattoos starts yelling, and I'll paraphrase, "Get back here and quit making problems for me." And then he pulled out a pistol. And he says, "I'll drop you right here." And looked at us and was like, "You want me to drop her?" And we're like, "No, we would absolutely love it if you didn't drop her right here on our floor in front of us." And then the gun was pointed in my face. And I'm like, "Hey man, anything you want, whatever." And I was expecting to, clean out the cash register for him. Nope. Dude ordered a BMT with pepper jack cheese, lettuce, and extra banana peppers. At gunpoint. And I made it. Best sandwich I've ever made. That sandwich could have been a painting in the Sistine Chapel. Like Michelangelo himself could not have made a better sandwich if he had tried. Now, when you have a gun pointed at your face, you tend to be a little nervous. Maybe wish that you weren't in that situation. However, I'm glad it happened because anytime I think back to it, I'm always like, that is the most utterly ridiculous thing that has ever happened. Dude had the whole place to himself and could have robbed us blind. But no, turns out he just really wanted an Italian sandwich from a subpar sandwich shop. Life is strange. For the record, I absolutely hated living in St. Louis. I don't know how people do it. I feel like I attracted so much ridiculous stuff for the short time that I lived in St. Louis. Like, I'm that guy that tended to avoid bars because I've got that face that just says, "Hey, are you wanting to start something? Well, come on up. Let's give it a go. I'm ready." I was never ready, but that's what my face said. My face says, "I want trouble, so please come give it to me." And that was my experience in St. Louis. It was not a good time. Beautiful city. Kinda. Actually, not really. It's not. I don't know why I don't like St. Louis. St. Louis sucks. Don't go to St. Louis. Don't visit St. Louis. We don't have anything in St. Louis that you can. We have a free zoo. That's nice. Anyway, this video is not sponsored by St. Louis. All right, because I'm sure everyone is wanting to know. What I did here was, so I sketched my outline in Procreate. I like doing that because I don't have to worry about erasing pencil sketches and such, and I can size it and get my proportions exactly how I want them. And then I turn down the opacity of the image, get rid of the background, and I print it as a PNG image. After that, I apply the watercolor. And for my watercolors, I don't use really pigmented paint, or as the layman would say, expensive paint. I'm not saying that because I'm cheap. I spend my money on brushes and paper and the pens I use. Like super pigmented colors, they just simply don't fit my style. And my advice to anybody starting out is don't break your bank making your art. There's no point. Now don't go bottom of the barrel either because cheap paint sucks to work with, but you can find a solid middle ground. Once I'm done coloring what I want colored, I let it dry a bit, and then I start the inking process. I use Faber-Castell pens to ink my stuff. I always have. They're great line work pens. They tend to last a long time. All of them except for the medium size. The one marked M, for some reason, is a turd and dries up like ridiculously fast. I'll get like maybe 4 or 5 paintings out of that particular pen. As for the shading, I do my shading with hash marks with these pens. Are they pens or markers? I think they might just be, I think they're markers. Pens, whatever, you get the point. And once I do the hash marks, then I'll go over it with a black colored pencil and smudge it. I was going to do all of the Halloween pieces this year on brown cardstock. That's what I usually do. But I was just feeling like actual watercolor paper for this piece. I don't know why. And for my paper, I generally use, for watercolor paper, I generally use the Canson XL pads. They just come in a right size for me to cut down. Most of my watercolors that that I do are usually right around 8 by 10 most of the time. So I just get a Canson watercolor pad, and it's good. It's good quality paper. It's affordable, and you can get it at just about every hobby shop. So yeah, that's just a quick rundown of what I use and how I go about it, as you can see in this video. Yeah, anyway, that's, I think, pretty much it for this painting. I wasn't liking how this was coming out for quite some time. I ended up liking it more towards the end. I don't know what it was. I think it was probably just the fact that I had so many issues with my camera and the lighting and the aperture that it just seemed like the whole freaking piece was a headache to work on. But I like the finished product, and I hope you do too, as I might make prints of this for you to buy, and you'll only buy them if you like it. Or you'll pity me and give me a mercy purchase, which I'm not opposed to. I'll take it where I can get it. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this week's video. I appreciate you watching and putting up with all the technical difficulties that I put you through. I'm sorry about that. It happens. Tough. And unfortunately, there's no featured artist this week. There was a couple hang-ups on that end, but next week, there will be. I did already film the next time-lapse video, so that's exciting. It's a Tim Burton piece, Nightmare Before Christmas. Everybody likes that, right? Yay! Sing kids stuff. Just kidding. Old Tim Burton's great. That's a great film. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'll see y'all in the... Words are hard. See ya!